Well, first of all, good morning or good afternoon, of course, depending on where you are. It's 9 a.m. in the morning here in Bogota in Colombia. First of all, a big thank you to Alexandria and in particular to Delphine for all of the work that she does getting all of these webinars set up and making sure that they run smoothly. So, what am I going to be talking about today? Well, web design, how to create a website that really delivers results. And I think that's what it's all about, delivering results. That's the message that I will be focusing on today. This is, of course, the first in a three-parter. The second part is going to be focusing on SEO, or search engine optimization, and the final part on PPC, or pay per click. So I hope to pack as much information as possible into today's session, and I hope that if you haven't already signed up for all three, that you consider doing so at the end of today's session. Right, so first of all, a brief introduction about me. Well, I started life as an aeronautical engineer, believe it or not, and during my university degree I had the opportunity to do an exchange with a university in Germany, and so spent a year there trying to understand aeronautics in German, which was pretty difficult. And during that time I started working on a couple of translations for one of my tutors, so that's how I got interested in the world of translation. I then went off and had a career in finance. I worked 8 or 9 years in financial companies, and then about 10 or 11 years ago I came to Colombia and I went back to languages, really my first love, if you like, and started really getting involved in teaching English and getting involved in translations, and I've been running that translation business for the last 10 years or so. Over the last few years, the last 3 or 4 years I suppose, I've got, or perhaps a little bit more, I've become increasingly interested in what happens online, in the power of the internet. I've started a podcast which is called the 100% Translations Podcast, and if you want any further information on any of these things, you can check out the website, which is 100%translations.com. I think finally I would say that before we really get into the meat of this presentation, that I'm not a particular tech expert or anything like that. This is something that I've come to understand and I've come to learn over the years, and I think some people have this fear or this idea that this can only be done by techies or by absolute experts, and as we will see during the course of this presentation, it's not that at all. You do not need to be a tech genius to have a successful website. So what will I cover today? Well, first of all, I'm going to be covering why you need a website. This for me is not a nice to have, it's not a I might have one at some point, it's you need to have one. If you are serious about being in this business, you need to have a website. You need to have one as soon as possible. And if you already have a website, then you need to focus on what that website is going to deliver. We're going to look at the key components of a good website. What should you actually have in or on your site? What are the key features that you need in order to create or drive traffic to your site and really take advantage of that traffic when it is on your site? I'm going to be focusing on something called calls to action. Very, very important, and I'm going to be mentioning this several times throughout the presentation because it is so important. If you have a whole bunch of traffic to your site but you do not ask people to take some kind of action, then you are really wasting all of that time and wasting all of that effort. I'm also going to be looking at Bluehost and WordPress and some other tools that we can really use to get these things up online and working. And finally, or during the course of the presentation, I will be talking about whether you should hire someone to do it or do it yourself. Should you do this web design thing yourself or should you hire someone to do it? So first of all, I'm going to launch a quick poll now. I'd really just like to know if you currently have a website. Very simple question. Do you currently have a website? Yes or no? So here we go. Okay, very good. So we've got half 50% yes and 50% no. So again, you know, this website absolutely is for both. This webinar is absolutely for both sets of people, for those who have websites and want to improve them, and for those who are yet to get started. So I think one of the first things that we should do, and for those of you that already have a website, try and compare this exercise to your own site. And for those of you who don't have, please take a look at what's happening on these other websites. What we are going to do is take a look at some other websites. We're going to have a little snoop around the internet, if you like, to see what is going on in other people's sites, to see what they are up to. So over on the right hand side there, you can see that big red take action button, call to action. Let's focus on these calls to action in other people's sites as we go through this selection of websites. So just going to bring up the browser here. So I hope you can all see that clearly. Of course, any questions, please let me know at any time. So first of all, we're going to have a look at Google. What a great site Google is. And I think one of the reasons it's a great site is because it's so clean. When you are on this site, they only want you to do one thing really, which is to type something in this search box. That's it. That's it. We've got all this blank space over here. It's not filled with advertising. It's not filled with a history of Google. In fact, I don't even know who started Google. It's just a company that's you know, always been around to me. And there's not lots of buttons. There's not lots of things going on. The call to action that they are asking you to take is to type in your query in that box. That is absolutely what they want you to do. So perhaps worth doing that. Let's have a look at another site now. Let's have a look at Facebook. Everyone knows Facebook. If you go onto the Facebook site, what do you see? Well, again, very interesting, I think, this space here, just a blank space. And I think that tells me, because obviously the people behind Facebook know a lot more than I do, I think it tells me that it's okay to have blank spaces on your website. There's nothing wrong with having a blank space on your website. A little bit of information here. Facebook helps you connect and share with the people in your life, but no big about Facebook, no big biography of Mark Zuckerberg or anyone else. And really, this is the call to action here. They want you to create an account if you haven't already got one. If you have already got one, of course, there's a very simple login up here, but really this is targeted to get new people if they haven't already signed up. So the vast majority, this premium space, if you like, on the right-hand side, above the fold, of course, well, there is no fold in this page. You cannot scroll down. They really want you to focus on creating an account. Okay, so if you look at the bottom here, there are some other bits and pieces of information, but really that's not the focus at all. Let's have a look at another one. nyaccidentcase.com. Well, this is a website that I found just really at random, just scrolling through the web looking for a couple of examples, and I found this from Newman Anceloni and Newman, one of New York's premier personal injury law firms, so a legal firm. What do we see here? Well, let's scroll through the website. Let's scroll through. Here, this area here is the fold, which used to be the fold in the newspaper. So anything above the fold is premium territory. And you can see what they have chosen to show on their website. Well, we've just got a pop-up box here asking if we want to chat with them. So no, thank you. We've got a telephone number for free consultations. We've got chat now, call now, email us. What a massive, massive focus on getting the visitor to the site to contact them. It's a massive, massive focus. So we've got here, we've got here, we've got here, and we've got here. As we scroll down, we start to get a bit more information about the company. So we've got a video here. We've got some, questions. Do you need help with medical bills? Some testimonials, success stories that they've had in the past. Again, another call to action here. Call us. Call us now. Scroll down. We've got the address and again phone numbers here. And at the bottom, again, another contact form here. Get help now. So amazing, the number of calls to action. I think this is a very nice, clean website. I think it's great. I think it's got plenty of calls to action on it, and it also tells you what they are all about. So that's quite an interesting one. Let's have a look at another one. So Aspect. I'm going to check aspect.co.uk. What's going on with Aspect? Well, Aspect, again, something that I found just randomly searching the web. One called property care, so tradesmen, handymen, plumbers, that kind of thing. That's what they offer. Again, you can see it here at the top. Call us now. Very, very bold, very really highlighted there, that call to action. Or let us call you. So just fill in that. We can call. They will call us back if we don't want to call them right now. As we scroll down, this contact box stays here, which I think is quite interesting. I actually think it's quite annoying, but it's quite clever in a way because it really focuses you on the fact that you need to contact them. That's what they want. Expanding outside of the London area, enter your postcode to see if you're covered. A couple of bits of news, a couple of bits of interest, and again at the bottom, call us now. A call to action. Call us now on this number. That is what they want you to do. So, is it clear what they do? Yes, I would say it's pretty clear. They've got a list of services down the left-hand side. It's clear what they do, and it's really clear how to contact them. So, very interesting site. One more. The British voiceover guy. Well, this Alex Warner, this guy, very handsome chap and a very talented voiceover person. So let's have a look at his site. Well, very, very clean, very clean. But what do you see? Straight here, get a quote. Get a quote, a call to action right in the middle there in a slightly different, or in a different color. Everything else is black and white, and this is highlighted in yellow. It really draws your eye towards this. Get a quote or a free audition now. Very good. The rest of the site, very, very clean. Again, at the bottom, get in touch. Contact us. Is it clear what this guy does? Well, it says there, the British voiceover guy, where your ideas find their voice. Very, very straightforward. If you want some more information up here, we've got clients, we've got testimonials, news. So there is some more information on the site. We've got client logos here, which I like very much. So very, 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 very clean and a great site, Right, I think that's enough of the general sites. What I'd like to do now is have a look at some translation sites, because that is, after all, what we're here for today. So let's have a look at some translation sites. I'm going to start with one of my own sites that is actually currently under development, and I certainly wouldn't claim to be the expert in having perfect sites. A lot of my sites are under development. A lot of my sites I'm trying to improve on a continual basis, and as you can see, that one, for whatever reason, is not loading, so we'll come back to that one in a minute. Okay, well, the next one is Lingua Greca. You might be aware of someone called Catherine Christaki. She's a very well-known personality, if you like, within the translations industry. She's a very nice, friendly person and very experienced and really an expert on some social media areas as well. Well, she runs with her partner Christos a boutique translation agency from Toronto in Canada, and it's all about Greek. Now, the first thing that I like about this site is it's really clear, if you look in this area here, what this company offers. Welcome to Lingua Greca Translations, your premium online source for Greek technical translations. We are a boutique single language provider. It's all about Greek, offering translation services in the following language combinations: English to Greek, Greek to English, French to Greek, Greek to French, German to Greek, Greek to German. Could it be any clearer than that? We know if we are looking for that type of translation and we land on this page, we know these people are I'm already feeling pretty confident about this company myself. Down here again, we've got some clients, some great clients on their client list. We've got all the other things that you might expect. We've got an ATA membership here. We've got some tweets and some posts and things like that. If you want a little bit more information, we do have a who we are section, so meet the team. I think this is always nice. This is something else that I will be talking about. I don't think you should really hide behind a company unless you have a big company. But if you're a boutique translation agency, or especially, in my opinion, if you are an individual freelance translator, you should show people who you are. Great photos here, great description. Look at the qualifications these people have. Some career highlights. I think that's a nice little section down there. And very interesting here. So it's through interest I've been drawn to this page. Who are this team? Okay. At the bottom here, impressed with our skills? Get in touch today for a free quote. Contact us. They want you to contact them. That button there could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. That just having that button there. We don't need to go back up to this contact here. It's right there for us on the page. So really, really good website. I really like that one. So let's go on to Morris Traduction. Again, many of you may have heard of Andrew Morris, an expert in French translation, based in France, and host of the Standing Out group as well. So Andrew is a very interesting guy, and a guy who focuses on design. Looking at this website, it looks completely different, but I think you will agree it has a very nice design. It has something that stands out. We've got these really what I would consider to be very nice images. If we want more information, we have to look a little bit more, but it's here. So we've got all the services up here. We can pop it into English. Again, very nice. And we can really look at our services, and we can ask for a quote here. We've got ask for a quote, contact. Okay, but this has a very, very nice design. So I think it's important to combine different things when you are looking at different sites. It's not just about the functionality, it's also about something that looks good, looks professional, and is pleasing to the eye. Right, another one now, Best Russian Translator. It's really important to have a look at these sites and decide how do you want your site to look. Are you more focused on design? Are you more focused on functionality? Are you going to be able to combine them? If for those of you who already have a site, does it have sufficient calls to action, and so on? So, right, this is Best Russian Translator, Dmitry Kornyukov. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. And this is a very nice modern site, ready for your next big step. I'm helping 112 customers connect with 143 million consumers from all over the globe. So, see my work, let's get started. Buttons for us to press on. When you've got the mouse in your hand, you have this tendency, you want to click on something. So I'm just really looking for something to click on. So, you are the best Russian translator, huh? What you get, okay, so a little bit about him, expert knowledge, on-time delivery, etc. What clients say, very, very important, of course, what the clients say. Really nice to have these testimonials on the front page. Very, very nice indeed. These are his recent projects, shows that he's working, shows what he's doing. See the full list again. Another call to action here. So you've learnt, I believe, even if you've never seen that site before, that you will have learnt a little bit about Dmitry in a very, very short time. How long have we been on that site? A minute or so. What to expect, address, based in Toronto as well, telephone number, and this contact form, send the pigeons. Okay, and a couple of extra bits in the footer, but I think a very nice modern site with calls to action. And finally, Finally, I'm going to have a look at one of the big players. So Transperfect. What do you notice about this site? Well, a very striking image. Now another very striking image. Great images there. The world's top companies trust Transperfect to help them excel in the global marketplace. We know how. Okay, very convincing. Learn more. So learn more. That takes us a little bit further down the website. What we do: translation, interpreting, multicultural marketing, more services, life sciences. Okay, well, I'm probably looking for translation, so I'm going to click on that. 170 languages, 5,000 plus native speaking linguists, etc., etc. ISO certified. They've got a translation process there. Okay, very good. Quality assurance. Okay, right. Where do I sign up? Where do I sign up? Download the brochure? No, not for me. Get in touch. Okay, we've got this get in touch up here. So I get in touch. Step 1. Right, let's fill this in. Now, to be honest, I just want to show you this because I'm not totally convinced by this. I'm not totally convinced by this contact form. I'm really not. It's a step 1. Then it's taking me through to something else. I've got to click on this. And it's taken through to this, and this still seems that it's not everything. It's got next page here. Now, I won't go through it all, of course, but it just, to be honest, I like the site. I think it's very professionally done. A massive company, of course, big player in the marketplace, but I'm not totally 100% convinced about their contact form. I think it could be a little bit cleaner and a little bit easier to use. Now, you might have the opinion that if someone's interested, they're going to take the time to fill in whatever contact form, and they're going to find a way to get in touch with these people. Well, I don't think that's the case. I think everyone is so busy these days that you need something easy. If it's not easy, you might never come back to it. So we really need to make these things absolutely as easy to use as possible, and I think that's just very, very important. So, right, so that's a look at the websites, and I hope you've got an idea of those calls to action. And I'm sorry if I'm kind of banging the drum a little bit, but honestly, this will make you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars if you do it right. So, why do you need a website? Well, a number of different reasons, of course. The first one that I've got here is to do with trust and credibility. When someone finds out about you and has an interest in your services, what is the first thing that they're going to do? The first thing that most people are going to do is to check out if you are online. Are you online, and where are you online? So they found your website, and having a good professional website is really going to go a long way to convincing someone that you are the right person for the job. I've seen lots of people who send me an email, for example, and it will say something like, you know, from john@xyz.com, and then I think, okay, well, I'm going to go and check out John's website. So I'll type in xyz.com, and it doesn't exist, or it's under development. And that really says to me, well, this is either a very new company, or it's a company that doesn't have money to invest in a website, or doesn't have the time and the sort of power to put a website up online. So it's not really convincing me. That is not convincing me. So I think it's very, very important for trust and credibility. Once you have the website up and running, there are certain things that you can that will increase your trust or credibility within the marketplace. Of course, one of them is having a nice design. Another one would be having testimonials on your homepage. Another one would be having a list of clients on your homepage, something like that, to really show that you're experienced. I was looking at a website this morning of a translator based in London, and she has a photo of herself with Boris Johnson, the mayor of London, on her website, and it just gives her that little bit of credibility. It just makes her seem important and competent. So that's important. Once you get people onto your website, they need to have an easy way of getting in touch. So it's really important that you have your contact details there. A website is also going to help you promote your brand. It's all part of your identity. So think of it as an extension of your identity. It's really about your branding. If you've got a nice logo, if you've got a nice image, it should be on your marketing material and it should be on your website. Now, the final one there is perhaps for me the most important one. This is all about generating leads. Long gone are the days where you just put up a website to have a website. It's not about that. Why should you just have a website for the sake of it? No, we have a website because we want to generate leads. We want to generate leads. Now, I'm going to just ask a different question here. How many leads are you generating? Or more specifically, is your website currently generating at least one lead per week? Is your website currently generating at least one lead per week? Obviously, if you don't have a website, then the answer's going to be no. Well, quite interesting here, we have 100% no. So I really want to get you out of that and get you into generating leads and to generating money. So another thing that I should mention here is that I want you to stack the deck in your favor. You might cast your mind out to some successful translators or some successful people in other areas of business, freelancers perhaps, and you might think what they have that you would aspire to. Of course, I'm sure you have many of those qualities already, but a lot of what those people do is not that much different to what everyone else does. What I find by analyzing successful people is that they stack the deck in their favor. They stack the deck in their favor. They make market conditions work for them. So what are the ways of doing this? Well, quite a while back when I started teaching English, well over 10 years ago now, I was approached by the Yellow Pages and they offered me some advertising space, and it was going to cost somewhere in the region of $3,000. Well, I thought that was just a massive investment. It just seemed like too much to invest. And I took some of that money, certainly not all of it, and I invested it online instead. Now, my reasoning for rejecting the Yellow Pages, a very good, successful company though it is, and of course it does work for some people, so we shouldn't forget that either. But I thought that I would rather be in the online space where I believed that more and more people were going to get online as time went on, and I believed that fewer and fewer people were going to use the Yellow Pages. Now, over the last 10 years, I haven't got the statistics, but I'm pretty sure that fewer and fewer people are using the Yellow Pages and that more and more people are online. In fact, I'm absolutely certain of that. So that was one case where I believe that I stacked the deck in my favor. And if you're going to be online, it's going to be a great investment because things are going to just get better and better over time, and you are going to attract more and more direct clients over time. I think there's a lot of talk within this industry about working with direct clients or working with agencies. My particular view on that one is that both can be great to work with. Having an online presence will tend to attract more and more direct clients, which is what a lot of freelancers wish to have. However, it doesn't only work for direct clients. Do you think that if you apply to an agency, don't you think they'll check out your online profile? I'm pretty sure they will. So it will be viewed by agencies as well. Okay. So do you want more leads? I think, of course you do, is the answer to that. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about my success with websites, and I really don't want you to think I'm blowing my own trumpet. I really am very much a person in development. I'm constantly striving myself to improve and to make things better. But I have had some successes I want to share with you purely to show that it is possible. Now, I get new leads on a daily basis. Every single day I get new leads into my business, and that is something that is perfectly achievable. I don't think I'm working necessarily in the best market. I don't think I have them. I know I don't have the most experience. I don't have the best websites either, but I do get new leads on a daily basis. I have made hundreds of thousands of dollars, or I've signed hundreds of thousands of dollars of business directly attributable to website leads. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, that might be over the course of a number of years. It might sound like a big number, but I don't necessarily think it is when you take other factors into account. But it is a significant amount of business. I have got business through offline marketing, through more traditional methods as well, but I have got hundreds of thousands of dollars of business online, and I also have business. I've got business from at least 10 different countries. That's pretty interesting to me. First of all, because I love working with people from all different countries around the world and different time zones and everything else. I think that's all pretty exciting. But apart from that, from a purely business perspective, it's a great way of protecting your income. Let me give you an example. If you have a job and you lose your job, you obviously have no job and you have to go out and find one. If you have 10 clients, well, it's very unlikely that you are going to lose 10 clients in one go. You might lose one or two from time to time, but you are very unlikely to lose them all at the same time. If you have business from different countries, well, those countries are going to be in different economic situations. Here in Colombia, for example, the exchange rate has changed quite significantly with the dollar over the last year or so, which really means that we are, as a business, I'm certainly looking for more translation work from overseas to add to the business I already have in order to diversify my portfolio and protect my future income stream. If something goes wrong in your country and no one wants translation work for a period of time, very unlikely perhaps, but at least you can protect yourself by having different income streams from different countries. So what are the key components that you should have on your site? Well, we've been through a lot of these already, but I'm just going to summarize them here. You've got to have the services offered. Very important that when someone arrives on your site, they know what you do. There's a lot of criticism aimed at those websites where you arrive on them and they offer 100 gazillion languages. That's not the best. Also, if a website offers 1 million different services, well, it's probably not going to give you confidence that they are good at any particular one of them. I think the phrase is probably jack of all trades and master of none. About you or your company, say something about you or your company. Put a photo up there about you or about your company. Make it a little bit personal. Give a little bit of personal information. Sometimes dealing with things online, these people can, it can be a little bit impersonal. Do you really know who you're dealing with? You're hearing my voice right now, but do you know who I am and what I do? Well, at least you've seen a photo of me at the beginning. You have some idea who's talking. But I think that sort of personal touch is very, very important. Call to action, there it is again. Say no more. And I'm not ashamed to say it again. Call to action. Why? Because it will make you thousands of dollars, and that's what the image is there on the right. Contact details. Make it easy for people to contact you. How many websites have you been to where you're kind of interested and you scroll down to the bottom and you can't find any way of contacting them, or they have a contact form but you don't want to fill in a contact form, you want to speak to someone. Is there a phone number there? No, on some of these websites there is no phone number, and therefore you leave the site because you can't be bothered to fill in the contact form, but you were going to pick up the phone. So, alternatively, some websites have a phone number, but you don't want to phone them. You want to leave them a message. Specialize. Very important to highlight your areas of specialization and why you are the best person for that particular job. So, the development process. Let's get on a little bit now to how to do this. How are you going to set up your website? Or if you already have a site, what are you going to do to modify it? It's a very simple process. Anyone can do it. Long gone are the days where you had to hire a designer. I hired a designer for one of my first websites, and they did a pretty decent job of the site, and they charged me, I can't remember exactly how much it was, but it was hundreds of dollars to do the site, a price that I thought was reasonable. After a couple of months, I wanted to make some changes, some very minor changes to the site, and I went back to the company that did the site for me, and I gave them a list of these very, very minor content changes, and they were going to charge me, I think, another couple of $100 for doing that, and I thought, whoa, that is just way too much. And I didn't make those changes, and I got frustrated with that website. Nowadays, that is not the situation. It's very easy for you to either produce the site yourself or to at least do the updates yourself. You do have the option of hiring a high quality designer. You have the option of using templates and things like that. You see this image here, Odesk is now Upwork. Well, Upwork is a very good community through which you can hire people to design your website and get your website up and running. So how are we actually going to do it? Let's go through the steps. Very straightforward. First step is to buy a domain name. Second step is to buy the hosting, the servers on which your files are actually going to sit. The third step is to create the content, and I've got their CMS, content management system, and fourth is to market the content. You might have great content, but if no one's going to see it, it's not going to be worth much, is it? So step one, buy a domain name. Very, very simple. Go to somewhere like GoDaddy.com. That's the ones I used. GoDaddy I've always found to be very good. I've included a couple of other providers there just for the sake of fairness and completeness. I'm not promoting anyone at all. What I do like about the bigger providers, however, there's some smaller ones out there, the bigger providers tend to have more services in terms of domain forwarding, in terms of marketplaces for buying and selling domains, and just generally they have a greater number of services. Think carefully about your domain name. I would say generally you want to be going for .com domain names. Other domain names can work. I have some domain names that are not .com domain names, so it can work. Again, there are always exceptions to every rule. Try and avoid hyphens. Try and avoid complicated things within your website. Again, there will always be an exception. Think carefully about who you are and what kind of site you want to have. If you're going to call yourself johnsmithtranslations.com, that might be great if you are going to focus on translations. But what if after a year or two you want to be John Smith Translations and Design? Does John Smith Translations really cut it? Perhaps not. I had a very interesting experience with my first site, or my first major site, which was inglesbogota.com, a site which is still running to this day. I chose that name, which of course means English Bogota, really because I was focused on getting search engine traffic from people typing in Ingles and Bogota with another word such as classes. So English classes Bogota, well, I would already have two of those words in my domain name, and that absolutely helped traffic over many years. However, it does have its limitations. When I started carrying out business in other cities within Colombia, well, that name didn't sound quite so good. So overall, I'm very happy with that name. It worked very well for me and continues to work. But, you know, would I choose the same name again today? You know what? I probably would on balance. But it does have some negatives. Obviously, working in another city doesn't quite make sense. So buy a domain name, very simple. I wouldn't buy premium domain names. I wouldn't buy something that's going to cost you $1,000. I think there's still some pretty good domain names out there. And whilst the domain name is important, probably even more important is the content that you are going to have on the site. The next thing you're going to need is to buy hosting, and this is really where your site is going to sit. One doesn't work without the other. You can't just have a domain name. You need to have hosting. Now, some of these packages will sort of do everything for you. For example, I think this Wix up here, I think they offer sort of packages, and it's really very easy to follow through. The method that I use is buy a domain name through GoDaddy, and then I host it on Bluehost, and that works very well for me. Again, a couple of other hosts there for the sake of completeness. But really, you go into somewhere like Bluehost, and you are going to buy a hosting package, and that is where your website is going to sit. Finally, you are going to create content for your website, and I'm going to suggest that you use WordPress. I've got 3 content management systems here. WordPress, Joomla, and Drupal. They're probably the most popular. WordPress, I'm sure, is absolutely the most popular, and it's very, very widely used. It's very easy to build a range of different sites, and I'll show you a little bit in a second how it works. What is so great about these content management systems? Well, you remember I said about my first website where I had to go back to the designer. These content management systems focus on the idea that once you've created the content, it can be presented in different ways. So let's say I have a website that is simply, it's got 2 columns, and I want to change it into a website that has 3 columns. Well, I'm not going to lose all my content. My content is held in the system there, and I can change the design, I can change the colors, I can change functionality without losing my content. So I think that is really, really important, and I would really suggest that you use WordPress. Very easy to use. Finally, creating content. We've talked about a lot about this already, but again, a little bit about me, as the image says there. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to talk about yourself, talk about your qualifications, show people who you are, talk about the services offered, and show your contact details. So you've got to have good content on the site, and as we move forward, you've got to have good content that is regularly updated. I don't want you to think of this website as something that is going to be done. So you're going to focus on it for the next 2 months and that's it. No, I don't recommend that. Yeah, sure, focus on it for the next 2 months, but after that, put in a program of updates every week, every month, whatever you can do, and make sure that you're putting new content up on your website. It might be about new clients that you've acquired, or new jobs that you are doing, or an adventure you've had, or whatever it is, but you need to put up new content on your website on a regular basis. Okay, well, I'm going to come out of the presentation now, and I think it's time that we had a look at a couple of things online. So let's have a look at a couple of things here. Well, first of all, I'm going to show you inside of one of my sites to show you really how easy it is to use. I'm going to go into this site called traduccionesbogota.com and really just have a look around. Okay, so this is the WordPress symbol, this is the WordPress login, and I'm just going to log in here. And this is going to take us to what's called the dashboard, and it's just really the functionality or the back end, if you like, of the website. It's where all the posts and all the pages are held. So this is the sort of thing that you're going to be looking at. Well, we've got a couple of notifications up here. I really wouldn't be worried about that. Really, we've got posts and we've got pages. So let's have a look at pages. So it's really very easy to use something like this, especially if you get someone to set it up for you. Really, this is to monitor it. It's really very easy. So I've got an article here, and for those of you who don't speak Spanish, it says why the quality of translation is important. It's a little article here designed to get search engine traffic. So I can go into the article, I can change the title if I want, I can change the content, which will appear here. It's proving a little bit slow to load for some reason. Let's go into the posts and see if that's showing up. But it's really very, very easy to use. So you've got themes, down here. You can edit the theme that you're using. You can edit the appearance. You can edit design, and you can also edit content very, very easily. So let's just go into this one. It's showing you exactly what appears on the website. So this is the text. So of course, if I discover a typo, all I need to do is go in and change it and save it, update it, and that's it. You know, very, 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 very straightforward. And once you get used to this, it really is super easy to use. Let's have a brief look at the appearance here. Themes. So these are the themes that I'm using, and I could change it to one of these themes. Some themes are free, some themes you have to pay for, but again, not a huge amount of money given the quality of the website that you're going to get. Now, if I were to change my website to this theme, which is not the active one, this is the one that's active here. If I were to change it to this theme, then all that would change would be the design. Now, it might need a couple of tweaks because my content might not work perfectly in that design, but I'm not losing the content. So it's not like in the old days where I'd need to remove all of the content and then upload it again. No, the design is taking care of that. We've also got things like plugins that can be installed in order to get even greater functionality. So, for example, if you want a dual language site, there are a number of plugins that will allow you to do that. And I think whether you do it yourself or whether you get someone else to do it, I think it's very important to have an understanding of how this works. This is the back end. This is what's going on behind the design, and understand that it's just not that difficult to upload a new article, for example. Let's say I've got someone to set up this site for me, and all I want to do now is go in and add a new post. I just go to posts, add new post here, and I'm adding a new post. I can add a photo, and I can have my content up there in no time. Now I can focus on what I'm good at, or what you should be good at, which is the message that you want to get out there. So what message do you want to share with your audience? What message do you want to use in order to create web traffic? So that gives you a very, I'm trying to pack quite a bit here into an hour, but that gives you a very, very brief overview of WordPress. So I'd just like to go back to how this all fits together. So let's suppose that we've bought our domain name. We then need to change something on the domain name called the DNS service. So again, a very simple process. Let's say we've bought translationsfrance.com and we've bought it on GoDaddy, and we've logged up for hosting. So you can see $6 a month here. We've logged up for hosting on Bluehost. Let's say we've done that. We then would point the DNS servers via GoDaddy. We would then point that, and there's a little function within GoDaddy that allows you to change the DNS servers to the DNS servers for Bluehost, which are very simple. They happen to be ns1.bluehost.com and ns2.bluehost.com. So again, there's lots of tutorials and things out there, and Bluehost, they've got a great support thing, so you can get onto a live chat and ask someone how to do it. So then you go into Bluehost, and let me log in here. So you go into Bluehost, and then all you're going to do is capture those DNS servers. So you're going to make sure it's all we're doing really is making sure it's all linked together. So if I go to 2, okay, so just logging in here. And there's a whole bunch of stuff on here that you don't need, or certainly I don't need. Very, very complicated, or a number of great features probably, but you only need a limited amount of functionality to get your website up and running. Oh dear, right. So let's see if I can get this working. Right. Well, this doesn't seem to be working too well. When you get onto Bluehost, so I'll just start talking about it, and hopefully it'll come up in a second. When you start you start looking at Bluehost, there will be a little button there which will say install WordPress. And all you're going to do once you've got the DNS server set up correctly is install WordPress on that site. Once you've installed it, it's very, very straightforward. You then choose a theme, and you can then start adding content, and you really can have this thing up and running in a matter of seconds. It really isn't that difficult, and I think one thing that I would say about this webinar is that I'm certainly very happy to answer any questions that you might have after the webinar. So this is the Bluehost control panel. As you can see, there's all kinds of things going on. We've got a domain manager, a website manager, and we've got this button here which is install WordPress. So that's what we're going to try and do on our website once we've got it set up via GoDaddy. We're linking the two together. So that's going to come up. It's going to ask us to enter the domain name. It might ask for a couple of other details, but then basically you're going to have WordPress installed on your site. Now, if all that sounds like too much hard work, then have a look at this site called Upwork, and this is where we can get designers or people to help, but I think very important to have an understanding of it first. So this is just an online marketplace where you can post a job. Very straightforward. I highly recommend it. And then you will get people who will offer jobs to you. So you can let's go to jobs. Let's go to post a job. So I'm going to post a job on here. And again, these things tend to be very well organized, so you just put a name in there, choose a category, what is it, where's web development, type in, website design or web setup or whatever you think, and then type in the description and type in the skills you're looking for. You can either pay by the hour or pay a fixed price. But really, you should only be looking at, I think you can get a site up and running fairly cheaply, but certainly, with a few $100s, you can really make things happen. And I think that's come down significantly over the years, when it used to be, thousands and thousands of dollars in order to get something up and running online. So I think, the options are out there. And what I do now is I work with developers, but I do understand what goes on behind it. But I don't work with expensive, super developers. I work with, people on Upwork who I find are very, very good. Generally speaking, you have to, like anything, you have to be careful. You can't just pay a bunch of money to someone and expect them to solve everything for you. You have to make sure they have a good review, just as people who are checking out your work as a translator want to check out that you're a great translator before committing. So you want to check out who you're dealing with. All of these people on here, all of these freelancers, they have ratings, they have the number of jobs that they've completed in the past, and so on and so on. So that makes it very easy to establish if they are good or not. And obviously, you need to understand what's going on in order to be able to direct them. So that's really that's really how that part of it works. Just a couple of other bits and pieces before we finish up. Think about your website in terms of what landing page you would like people to hit. So where do you want people to land on your website? Do you want them to land on the home page, or do you want them to land on another page? And that all is related with search engine optimization and all of these other things as well. So you see, this is my page, one of my pages that I wanted to show you earlier. Again, it's under development at the moment, but I do have these quote buttons here. These are my call to actions that I really want people to take. However, a lot of people will actually be landing on a different page if they come from a different part of the internet. So I'm trying to direct people even to another page, which is this page, and this is of course a quote page, a contact form. Get people to fill it in with details of the document that they need translating. So I'm really trying to direct people towards that. Please let me have any questions that you might have. I hope that's given you an idea of things. I know I've gone through some certain things quite quickly, and I don't understand all of your specific needs. So please jump on the questions box and let me know if there's anything that's unclear, if there's anything you want me to go over again, anything that you want me to explain in more detail, or anything that I can help you with, really. Anyone have any questions? Okay, all right, well, I'm just going to do a very quick summary then of what we went through today. I think first of all, remember, very, very important to get a website up and running. If you don't have a website already, you absolutely need one. This is thousands and thousands of dollars of business, and the time and the effort that it takes you to develop it, to get one up and running, or to improve the one that you have already with the appropriate calls to action will be well worth it. So I really recommend that you do that. Focus on these calls to action. Focus on not only getting people to your website, but getting them to take action once they are there. Work with other people. You don't need to be stuck. You can ask me. You can ask other people online. There are plenty of people that you can either ask for help or that you can employ in order to get the job done. You can outsource, as it says here. It does not cost a lot of money. It is not difficult to do, and you will absolutely get more business. Now, if you are a translator who really enjoys translating, you're passionate about languages, well, you want to be doing that more and more and more and more, and you don't want to be worried about where your next piece of business is coming from, and having a great website will help you with that. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. As I said, any questions, please let me know afterwards. Please let me have some feedback, either directly to me or through Delphine at Alexandria. I would really appreciate it. So that's your call to action. Please let me have some feedback. And another call to action is, please consider signing up for sessions 2 and 3 if you haven't already. I will be going through search engine optimization strategies. In other words, how to get more traffic to your site once you've got it up and running. And in session 3, I will be covering pay-per-click advertising, another way to get targeted traffic. This is not just random traffic, targeted traffic to your website. And if you can get targeted traffic to your website, you're going to have a great opportunity to convert it. You're going to have a higher conversion rate. You're going to get more business. So thank you once again. All the best. Please let me have any questions either right now or afterwards.